So good morning, everybody. It's great to be here. It's a wonderful place. And I think all of you are people that have ideas, that want to change the world, transform the world, and even have dreams. Sure. I have dreams. And my dream is, and it came to the mission of our company, we want to have powered the world. We want to have clean energy for generations to come. We make real what matters. And we just heard this is what this is all about. Yesterday or last week we heard from the Potsdam Institute for Climate and Impact Research that for 3 million years, a lot of time if you measure this in lives of human beings, we haven't had the CO2 concentration in the atmosphere as we have it today. And we still talk about 2 degrees of temperature increase to keep that. But there are scenarios also that certainly go above the 2 degrees, going to 4 degrees. So we are in this business. We are in this business making real what matters, what is important to make this planet a better place. This is all our business, and it is important to do those things. We know the energy sector today contributes about 40% of the carbon emissions. And it is a place, and we heard that it's not only about wind, solar, it's not about power generation. It is all energy we consume. There's the transportation sector, there's the heating sector, I think just to name a few, there's industry. But it all starts with power generation. We know the industry is electrifying, we know that. And electrification will be one of the key drivers also to green the planet and green our living, because there are basically 2 options mankind has. And this is nothing new. When I was a student at the university, we already discussed that. There's 2 options. And one is to simplify our life, to not live in the way we want to live today. And the other one is to use technology, use innovation to reduce the impact of our lives as we all like to lead it, as of today. And this is why we need companies, we need innovators, we need people like you to innovate, to come up with ideas how to reduce the carbon footprint, how to reduce the footprint on our planet in order to make this a good and healthy place. And we see, maybe hear also some comments from the politicians today about the very young generation that goes on the street. Maybe it's not so smart idea to miss the school, but I think we need to really take them serious. This is on their minds. This is what they see, this is their future. So independent, when they do it, I think that is what it is all about. We need to make sure that the next generation finds the place, the environment in a state as we have found it when we were young. And this is what they asked for. That is why I think we as companies, certainly, and Siemens Gamesa, we do that, but also as societies, we need to take that very serious, taking that momentum at what it is. And many people talk about it is about saving the planet. So we feel great if you want to save the planet. With thousands of movies, people saving the planet. I don't believe we are here to save the planet. I'm pretty sure with 2 degrees, 4 degrees, the planet will survive. That's not the problem we have. We need to save ourselves. It's a very egoistic approach. We need to save ourselves. I don't believe human has a decent living on this planet with 4 degrees temperature increase. It will not work. I mean, all the scientists tell you that. The planet will survive. Forget about the planet. It will take care of itself. I believe we need to make sure that this remains a decent place so mankind can survive. And we see all the implications. We see the floods, we see the temperatures, and we could, I think it was yesterday, listen in the news that the grain production of last year is not sufficient on a global level to match consumption. Why is that? Because we had a very dry summer last year, so the production was not as high as people want to have it. Mainly people enjoyed it. I remember Hamburg was unbelievable summer in Hamburg. Berlin was the same, everybody was out in the street. Fact is, grain production was not sufficient to match demand. So this is the situation we're in, and this is why it's important. It's not about the planet, it's about us, it's about the people on the world, what we are doing. And this is nothing I'm telling you new. I think there's a broad consensus in society that something needs to happen. It's COP21, we've had COP24 in Katowice. There's strong consensus around the globe about in the political landscape that things need to change, and they need to change fast. Of course, as a company, we also need to follow economic principles because we want to make sure that as a company we can drive things also in the future, so we need to make sure our living is secured nowadays. But overall, the consensus is there. And if I look at the Green New Deal in the US, let's start, where's my slides? Let's start with the Green New Deal that was proposed by the Democrats to say that in the US, the support, of course, varies between Democrats and Republicans, but it's very clear. There is support. There's public support for things we do. And when I talk to our American customers, they're very, very clear. Coal will be phased out in the US, not because of political decisions. Simply, we are meeting the point. It's just where they had three arguments, and renewable energy is pushing those three arguments we just heard from Christoph. It is one, reduce carbon footprint from power generation. That is what renewables do, this is what wind is doing. The second one is energy security. Reduce impact, the implications, the dependency from hydrocarbon imports. Many countries, including Germany, the US, depend on hydrocarbon imports. So you reduce dependence, and the last one is the important now, what just happened basically in the last years. Renewables are affordable. It's the cheapest, wind is the cheapest way to produce electricity. To say it in technical terms, the marginal cost of fossil power generation is at the level of the fully loaded cost of wind. There's a Moroccan customer, he said, I couldn't buy the coal for the cost you produce electricity with wind turbines. This is where the industry is today, where we have managed the industry to get. Why did we get there? Through innovation. This is the idea. 20 years ago, it was an industry that looked for subsidies. Today, the industry, renewables are driving the price point in the market. And Europe started with a carbon footprint. The Americans started more with energy security. It was energy dominance is the term today with the political landscape. But it still makes us self-independent. And today, many countries invest in renewables because it is simply economical. It is economical to do this. Facebook is making a good market story why they want to invest in wind parks. But the reality is it's the cheapest form to drive their data centers. That is what they're doing. And Google and IKEA, these companies, corporate PPAs is around the world around this. This is what is happening. I gave the same view on Europe. Also, broad public support. The motivations, the drivers are somehow different, as I said. But overall, taking those three arguments that are necessary: reduce carbon footprint, energy security, and affordability. This is all what we deliver to the market. How do we do this? Where do you get in as innovators with your ideas, with our ideas? How we do this? And we can look at the turbine. It's a big piece of hardware, and there's tons of good ideas how we can improve our turbines, build them bigger. We just announced last week in Bilbao at a huge fair a 5.8, 155 meter rotor diameter, 170 meter rotor diameter wind turbine. It's huge machines. They have become very big. Just to give you a perspective, and 20 years ago, a blade more or less would have fit on the stage, a little bit more maybe. Today, a blade has about the length of a soccer field, one blade. So this is the dimensions that have been through innovation. It doesn't happen by simply scaling. It's innovation that drives technology. These blades are beyond 80 meters, going close to 100 meters, one single piece of carbon fiber product. But this is all good. This is hardware. We do a lot of things there. What is driving this industry today, and I think this is a huge need on good ideas from startups that are creative, that are agile, that are moving things very, very fast, much faster than companies like Siemens Gamesa still being an agile company in the market. This digitalization, and we heard the word. Everybody uses it as a buzzword today. I've collected 4 typical areas where we do digitalization in our industry. Let's start with the turbine as such. It is an ideal case. A wind park is an ideal case for machine learning. You have 100 turbines. Every turbine, what normal controls do, they optimize the turbine as they are. So everybody sits here, the turbine sits here and optimizes itself. That's good. But the turbine in front of it, let's assume the wind comes from your side, has what we call wake. So it takes energy out of the wind, and of course the next turbine will see the impact from this wake. If this turbine just tilts a little bit, the wake will be deflected, and the next turbine will see a higher airstream. So they need to talk to each other. And now it's not only 2 turbines, it's wind park of 50 turbines, 100 turbines. This is a typical case. There's no unique solutions. There are people that had not left university so far and did some math, know what it means. So it's not easy to solve that. It's a very typical application for machine learning. How can these turbines optimize not individual, but how can they optimize the wind park as such? And there's significant potential. We say digitalization, just to give a number, can improve 80 billion for the entire wind industry, 5% of production is possible only with digitalization. It's huge, huge money you can unlock with those ideas. So artificial machine learning algorithms, that is what we do in wind parks. On the construction, we move, I told you, one blade, 80 meters, 100 meters. We move big pieces around the world. Huge logistics effort. We are not there to use intelligent systems, GPS-based, how do we optimize transportation route, how do we optimize material flows. There's another one, completely different field of applications that where we look in. How can we optimize our logistics around the world? How can we move faster in that direction? There's another area. And then also with the commissioning artificial vision, to know what is actually built in the turbine. We can go into the turbine, take pictures, and artificial intelligence takes out of the pictures what has been in the turbine, what condition it is. So there's other fields of innovation where there's huge opportunities. Manufacturing 4.0, I think that's a term that is out there for quite some time. I tell you what has been done in the past. What we do is basically building wind turbines, is putting lots of bolts in pieces of steel, to make it simple. So bolting is our business in our final assembly. Every bolt needs to have the right torque, it needs to be quality controlled, it has the right torque, and will keep that torque for 20 years. In the past, you did this by writing things down on paper and making marks, and doing a mark on the bolt has been checked, and then people go into the office, put this in the system, and so on. Today, you have systems, you have an automatic torque system, it does the torque, it measures actually also the torsion. At the same time, to do actually a built-in quality check, is it okay? Delivers the data on a platform, and 5 years later, you can still check at what time, what position, what angle, what torque moment was there. That is all data-driven optimization that we do in manufacturing. Just to give an example, even with simple torque bolting, you can do a lot of digitalization and artificial intelligence. And finally, service, a key area. We just had the pleasure last week at Hannover Messe to present one of those fields of application. What has been done in the past, you take a person, these are very courageous persons, they hang down a turbine on a rope, down the blade, and then they inspect the blades, taking pictures and trying to repair. Technology today is you take a drone, you fly to the blade, you take the pictures, then you take an algorithm again to stitch the pictures to make out of the many pictures one picture. That was an exercise that took days before, now it's done in 15 minutes. Then you have an artificial intelligence algorithm going over this picture is the wrong word now, it's a data set, going over that data set to find what is a fly, what is dirt, where is really an impact, what is a serious impact, and what is an impact that can be accepted. So the technician actually maybe looks at 3 or 4 points where the algorithm cannot take a decision, where a human being needs to take a decision, the rest is done fully automatically. So what has taken days and weeks before is today handled in minutes. That is all needed to drive the cost of electricity, of renewable energy further down. That is why we now today compete against fossil so well, driving it through technology. These are just a few examples, very practical examples, what we do as an industry to drive this forward. And we mean it serious. Digitalization is on the core of our agenda. And this is what we do. How do we work with startups? Just to give you some impact, some ideas. We are a company that wants to work and is working what many you know, open innovation. We invite as many as possible people with good ideas. We look at ideas and the number of ideas we can do. We screen those ideas. We have people in the organization. We do scouting. Where do the ideas come? What fits to our company? There's millions of good ideas. They need to fit to the company, to the field of application. Then, of course, we analyze how can we support the idea, how we can support the startup, how we can support this young company. and moving forward with various possibilities. And if it's workable, if we even take them in. So a good example for that would be a company, NEM, we have in Spain. They do preventive diagnostics. Very separate company. We work closely with them. They do preventive diagnostic. They out of statistical methods, they decide on the conditions of the turbine. And the example we had on Microsoft, on the Hannover Messe was done with Microsoft on the platform Azure. Many of you probably know that. Collecting all this data, doing the stitching of the pictures, doing the artificial intelligence algorithms, and then moving forward to find an application that is marketable. Overall, the idea behind this is a small idea. Of course, we need to have large companies that can provide data platforms like Azure and have the computational power in order to support. So this is just a quick examples to give you an idea what we do, how we do it, and why the industry depends on innovations and good ideas, depends on you bringing those good ideas. So we have few people here in the room also that came with me. That's Katrin somewhere, there's Mark somewhere, there's Peter somewhere. There's an arm is raised. If you have good ideas, if you want to talk to Siemens Gamesa, the company that is leading in the wind space, the energy transition is there to create clean energy for generations to come. Please talk to them. They're here and have a great idea. I think that is all about getting each other to know, creating networks, because there's all one key example. I have benefited from occasions like that. I'm sure you will benefit from being here. Have a great day. Thank you very much.